Final question for you. You've said that you want the deal with AJ to be done by the end of Monday.
Monday is the deadline.
What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Big John Fury. And Big John Fury states that he blames Fury's loss on his team, okay? And Big John had this to say. He said, if it wasn't for me, he would have been knocked out in the first fight. Simple as that, okay? He said that you gotta admit, I wasn't in the second fight, and because I wasn't in the second fight, he didn't do what should have been instructed of Tyson. And let me counterpunch. Big John Fury. I think it is a bit late though, because I mean the fight was a long time ago, but it shows you how disappointed I feel Big John was. You know, Big John is just now making waves, and it's May, right? The fight happened in December. Happy New Year! So, I mean, you know, you really look at Big John Fury, you know, taking jabs at Sugar Hill Stewart. I think it's a time for those guys to really either sit down or have it out. You know what I mean? And I would love to be a fly on the wall, you know, to see how that comes about, because, you know, I don't think John should be talking that type of way about Sugar Hill Stewart. However, you only have to admire the balls, you know, the backbone, rather, of him saying how he feels. Because, you know, Sugar Hill is still training with Tyson Fury, right? He's still his trainer. So for him to say that shows that, hey, I don't care who is currently his trainer. Normally, that's for chicken shit people to say after he's already left that particular trainer. Then they'll start saying, oh, I didn't like him anyway, and he wouldn't shit, or he wouldn't this and didn't do this, and you know what I mean, and saying and calling Javen Sugar Hill a yes man. I think now, you know, John Fury, I don't think it's John Fury's fault or issue. I think now it's time for Javen Sugar Hill to step up. All the passive, take the high road shit, I think that should go out the window. And I think as long as he's still training Tyson Fury, I think he should have something to say about Big John, or to Big John. You know what I'm saying? Like that passive shit only goes a certain amount of miles before you say, hey, you know what? Hey, I'm tired of you talking shit to the public. If you got something to say to me, because it's not cool. And I think it's the commentators. I think the thing to ask Javen Sugar Hill is, how does he feel about that? And if he's like, well, I don't let it bother me and this, that, and the other, you know, I don't let things get a, you know, but I'm like, listen, you got the guy that you train's father calling you a yes man. You think Emmanuel Stewart would allow John Fury to say that type of shit to him, about him, his camp, his team, his gym? Do you think he would have allowed Big John Fury to call him a yes man? No, it would have been probably bombs over Baghdad, more than likely. You see what I'm saying? It wouldn't have been what you think it is. You know, and John's just popping off because we know that deep down inside, John wants to train his son. That's why John had so much shit to say in the first fight. And speaking of the first fight, as we begin the video with, Big John Fury did have a lot to say, and it was contradicting to the instruction of the whole team. But what I don't like about it is he's only targeting Javen Sugar Hill, not Andy Lee. Andy Lee was still there, but he wasn't. Why? Because Andy Lee was responsible. Andy Lee followed the lead of the lead trainer. John didn't. But John also didn't want to talk shit about Andy Lee. He ain't going to say shit about his cousin, right? You know, he ain't even said anything about Peter Fury. When Peter Fury was training Tyson Fury, he had nothing bad to say. But of course, he was undefeated at the time, wasn't he? And he was in jail and incarcerated. So there you go as well. You know, it's almost like Floyd Sr. and Roger Mayweather training little Floyd Mayweather, right? So it was kind of like that. However, Big John Fury, though, has said how he feels. He feels that, hey, if it wasn't for me, he would have got knocked out in the first fight, right? But I do think Javen Sugar Hill needs to say something in his defense to show that he does have a backbone because it's warranted for him to defend himself. But you guys tell me what you think of Big John Fury stating that it's Sugar Hill's fault that Tyson Fury lost the second fight, and if it wasn't for him, he would have got knocked out the first fight. Of course, please subscribe, and you guys been counterpunch. Peace!